And as I share this word, Lord, I ask you, may you be pleased with what I have to share. I ask it all in the worthy name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. The question is, when we face the worst of the worst, daily we live through insanities of wars, the continual tragedy of victims of hurricanes, flood, molestation, murder, and mayhem. How does one answer this question when one is experiencing isolation and desolation? With the same quiet rage, we wonder, where is God doing our chaos? Where is God doing such chaos? The quick answer we receive as children often don't sustain us as adults. As children, we've learned that God is everywhere. We have heard preachers quote, "When you pass through the water, I will be there." And that's in Isaiah 43:2. We memorize the 23rd Psalms. "Yea, do I walk through this valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." Yet these answers do not always satisfy us when we're in despair. In Psalms 139, what we just read, that help answers the questions, is God in the dungeon? In this Psalms, God is described as an omniscient and omnipresent God, one who has known and forever present. That description brings forth both not only clarity formed by the creator, our thoughts plain section that the triumph is ultimately known by who? By God. In Psalms 139, 1-6, it is personally assuring us that Yahweh is there. Whatever dungeon the psalmist had entered, he secured even in the insecurity that God is on the journey with him. We are on a journey, folks. We are on a journey with the majestic one. The ultimate destination and purpose may not be known to us. The course of our journey may not be immediately understood. But the psalmist is confident and persuaded that God is with us. It does not matter how we get there. What matters is once we have gotten there, his presence is there. The dungeon experience is not always a result of external happenstance. In fact, there are 3 ways we may enter the dungeon. We can end up in the dungeon by our own sinfulness. Our actions have the causal consequences of separation and isolation. If we believe that sin is separation from God, the heaviness of our behavior often places an emotional and exile estrangement. Dungeons will also come by external assaults, when something or someone causes the pain we are facing. Often it comes quickly without warning. The external assault includes drive-by shootings, car accidents, domestic violence, and unfair job losses, and so on. The third way we can find ourselves in the dungeon is when God puts us there. Okay? In Psalm 139:5, for whatever reason, God does not just allow the suffering, God orchestrates and navigates us into the dungeon. There is a divine intentionality, may be for our growth, healing, or some other known or unknown purpose. Abraham is told to sacrifice his son. Rivkah had to lose her son for a political war and then had to fight for a decent burial. Who can completely explain why? When the life's challenge engulfs us, God is sovereign. And we declare God's sovereignty over us. We accept the good times as well as the turbulence. Whether it be by our own making or when the darkness covers us, God is with us. With more than a passive presence, God is active with a plan of protection, provision, and empowerment. God protects. There are times in which only the grace of God kept us from destroying our lives or allowing someone else to destroy us. Remember the times in which you made horrendous decisions and played Russian roulette with our lives. I don't know about you, I've been there. I've done it. I don't know, I may have told you the story before. If anybody knows anything about Boston, Revere, you know about Bell Circle? And we're coming around Bell Circle doing maybe 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. And when they hit that circle, I was on 2 wheels. I should have been dead. But God was there. You know, I thank God immensely for praying family, praying mother, praying father, praying sister, praying brothers, and a praying church, even though I wasn't in it. But I know they were praying for me. And I've came full circle. I can testify, I've came full circles. I don't know, Susie, you know me, but I was something. I'm gonna tell you something. I was a humdinger, I can't tell you no lie. I must have fought every weekend. Every weekend I was looking for a fight. I had a fight. I wasn't looking for it, but I had a fight. But God saved me many times. I'm sitting at a party, got into a fight. 2 guys coming at me with a stiletto. I got out of it. I don't know how, but God was there. And guess what? I didn't get locked up. They took me home to my door. I should have got locked up. That comes from a praying family, a praying mother, a praying father. That comes from God's presence with me when I didn't even know he was there. Because I was doubting him at times. I was wondering why I was in such a situation, why things happened to me. I was raised in the church. I knew who he was. Not like I didn't know him. But some reason, some weird reason, I was running, thinking the grass is always greener out there. I got tired of the do's and don'ts. You can't do this. You can't do, let me go out here. You can't eat this. You can't, let me try some pork chops. Okay? It was good, I thought. Right? But God was always there. God was always with me. At times I was going to make decisions that would have sent me to jail. For some reason, he stopped me. Let me give you an experience. Because I was dabbling in some stuff now. And I gave us some things. And in my world, you had to make an example out of people at that time. Well, the guy did something wrong. I had to make an example out of him. So I made my mind up. That I was going down there in Grove Hall. You know where Grove Hall is at? You know that little side street down there? I went down there with my pistol. I'm going to have to kill him. I'm going to have to shoot him anyway, at least shoot him. But you know, I was taught with me, take him out. You don't wound him. So I was on my way down there to kill this guy, to make an example out of him. Because you had to make an example of people. People take advantage of it, especially when in the situation I was in, things I was doing. But before I got there, do you know the Lord removed that man? He got in some trouble with something, and some people jumped on him and got him out. He removed that thing or that person from me. And I say from me because I was going to kill him. And at that time, killing a man didn't mean nothing to me. I just came back from Vietnam. I didn't mind killing somebody. And the second time, I've been in some situation where only God, it wasn't for God, I would either been dead or rotting away in jail. God's presence was there, even though I did not know it. So God provides. He says, there is a level of protection that demonstrates when we are at our wits. No, I'm not there. God protects. There are times which only the grace of God kept us from destroying our lives or allowing someone else to destroy it. There is a level of protection that is demonstrated when we are at our wits in the abyss of desolation. I've been there too. Walking around, what's happening? I've thought about it. Why is this happening to me? But God was there. God pulled me out of that. Even though I didn't even realize it. I didn't know. God was preserving me for a reason. And he preserved me today. You know, when I fell and broke my hip, I know the devil pushed me. The devil pushed me. I know the devil pushed me. Because I wasn't supposed to fall on them steps. I walked them steps up. The devil pushed. I know he pushed me. Right? And so when I fell, I hit and I said, Lord, I hope it just bruised. I hope it just bruises. Just a bruise. But when I tried to move, I knew it wasn't a bruise. Right? But now I'm serious, you know, the devil pushed me. Because it was only 2 steps. 2 steps, and I shouldn't have fell. But I fell. And when I got to the hospital and they rolled me over and they took x-rays, he told me, hey, you broke your prosthesis, your artificial hip, and you broke your thigh bone too. Okay. That's that. But then I thank God too, because I hit my head. Right? But I had a banister that we had put in there just to walk down the banister because, you know, when you get a certain age, you got to hold on to things. Right, Carol? You got to hold on to things. So we had to put a banister in there so, you know, we catch on to these things. And if it wasn't for that banister, I probably would have bust my head wide open. I hit my head on the banister, bounced back, though, and came over. Tell me God wasn't there. But the best part about it, it brought to my realization that it could have been worse. I think about that. It could have been worse. I mean, I'm right now hopping with a cane. I'm getting there. I'm going to get that, you know, with love and let me get rid of that thing eventually. But I was talking to John T. You know, I could have been with no legs. These are people with no legs. Worse off than me. At least I can move. That just told me God was present even in my mishap. So now I can count it all joy. Really, I can count it all joy. Because I can move, I can hop. You know? So when you're in the deepest part of your lives, when things just ain't going right, and I've been in that situation where, well, why? What's going on, Lord? Why am I going through all this? And I wanted to do things that I shouldn't, would have been fatal, put it that way. Having flashbacks. I don't know if you all understand what I mean by flashbacks. I wake up some night, I'll be wringing wet, and I'll have a flashback, car backfire, jumping on the ground, low crawl, oh man. PTSD, I have it. A lot of people don't realize it. It's something else. I have PTSD. And the sad part about the powers that be knew I had PTSD and didn't fix it or didn't try to fix it. They didn't even tell me. They had it in my records. There is a level of protection that demonstrates when we are at our wits, in the abyss of desolation. We are given a level of stamina to withstand the destruction of our enemies. When a situation will bring others to suicide or murder, God keeps our mind regulated and our hearts fixed on survival. There's an eternal resolve to make it. People who survive months, years of abuse, misuse, and neglect did not give up were protected. People who survived separation for everything they knew and still live with protection. We like to say, or we like they are being kept and held for losing our hope. Must never lose hope. Hope is the backbone of fear. Whenever you have hope, there's no fear. That means you can always a chance that you may overcome. God also provides. God provides a way of existing in and often an escape out of the dungeon. God meets our physical and emotional needs in the dungeon. Our God will not fail. There are some things we can't do by ourselves. I like to say there's nothing we can do by ourselves. There's nothing we can do by ourselves if it's not for God. You can't get up in the morning if it's not for God. You can't drive your car if not for God. You can't walk if not for God. When we look back, it was providential nature that provided the slaves food to eat and give sleep to the sleepless nights. They found escape routes, followed the North Star, learned to eat berries off trees, found water in leaves. Can we look back and remember how we found peace in financial crisis? Vaseline was as good a substitute as expensive lotions. I remember them days, especially in the North. We had no lotion. I remember them Crisco. We had Crisco. Slapped that Crisco on their face. You know what I mean? And we went in that cold weather, like 2 below zero, and we're walking up there. You know what I'm talking about in Boston, it get cold. And we walking up that hill backward, but we didn't use no lotion. That Crisco, and some people use lard. Lard was another one. Another one. Who do? And I always like to say, and during that era for the powers to be ate the outside of the hog, we ate the inside of the hog. That's how we survived. I remember going to the store, used to give away the liver and the gizzards and the chicken. They give you that free. We took it all the time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, God made a way for us. We couldn't go to the doctor. We couldn't afford it. So God instilled in our parents medicinal herbs that took the place of a lot of the things the doctor would give us. And it worked. God is always present. He's always present. We must also remember that no matter what the situation is, he is there. He knows the ending from the beginning. He knows where we're going to land. He knows right now where we're going to land as a church. And we must keep that faith. Keep that understanding. I had a conversation. I'm going to say it. With somebody, I won't say who it was. But my expression to them was, all I want for them to do is talk. Talk. If they talk, and after their decision, they decide that we'd be better off here, I'm good with that. Or if we're better off there, I'm good with that. But they need to talk. Two need to talk. Not one person, I don't want to talk. We're not going to get nowhere that way. That's not compromise. That's not Christian. That's not love. Because right now, only people suffering is the people. They need to talk. And I will accept whatever decision God decides, that's what has to happen. That's it. That's the point we need to get to. Living simple never killed us. Living simple never killed us. God is leading and guiding us day by day, and at times, moment by moment. Painful steps are painful steps. With God, we must declare that this destination is not our final destination or not our final location, because this too will pass. This too will pass. We must fix our compass and change our limitations. Let's not, that to me is important. People limit themselves to certain things they can do. When you have a God like God, there is no limits. There is no limitation. God can do anything that we figure he can't do as a human being. He can fix anything. Let's not limit our limitation. When we do, we will know God is the way. We will know God in a way we will not know God before. When we allow God to work in our lives. And we allow him to work in our lives, we find God at times when we think, I didn't know he could do that. I didn't know he was about that. Then all of a sudden you find yourself getting closer and closer to God. When we allow ourselves to open up and be part of what God wants us to be. Dungeons will bring either the worst of us or the best of us. They will always bring out the best, though. They will always bring out the best in God. All right? The dungeon will always bring out the best in God. It will bring out the worst of me, the best of me, but I can't be no better than God, right? God, I like that, but with the last week, man foolishness ain't like God foolishness, huh? That's all it's saying. God best is 10 times, maybe 30 times better than my best. Okay. We will either emotionally make it or emotionally dwell in pain and misery. We don't want to do that either. Our setback, check this out, our setback will become our comeback or will hold us back. It is up to us. Let me say it again. Our setback will become our comeback or it will hold us back. It's up to us. But see, God can't move unless we move. Some people want to sit back and say, well, give it to God. I'm going to sit and pray and pray and pray and see if God's going to move. See if God's going to take it away. God ain't going to move until you move. Now, when you move, God's going to do his thing. Notice that David doesn't say God may be with us. David does not say it would be well with us. No, he says God is what? With us. God empowers. Take the promise and keep praying and believing. Take the word as get through sickness and pain. God says, I will be with you. God made the heavens and the earth, has all the power in his hands. God who can move in mysterious ways, is with us. God who knitted us in our mother's womb is able. God who made all things can handle all things. That's why I ain't worried. I ain't worried. God got this one way or another. God got this. We may suffer for a little while. We may be despaired for a little while, but God got this. God don't like ugly. You know that, right? And God don't like when he hurt his people. We're God's people. God's not gonna don't like that and not gonna allow it to happen. Or if he's allowing it to happen, guess what? We must learn to grow from it. Grow from it. Ask Daniel, the 3 Hebrew boys, about the dungeon. They knew that this same God came down in the fiery furnace and put out the flames and shut the mouth of the lions. This God kept Mary when pregnant without a husband and healed the daughter of the Canaanite woman. God allowed Jesus to suffer and die on the cross, put him in the grave, and declared that there is no death that does not have some form of resurrection. Huh? If you die in the Lord, you will rise again in the Spirit. If you die in the Spirit, you will rise again in surety. Our awesome God will do a new thing in you. Look at us now. Yes, look at us now. We have lots of crimes. Yes, we still have lots of problems. But on the other hand, the African diaspora have lawyers, doctors, pastors, writers, geneticists, entrepreneurs, educators, entertainers, scientists, sports stars, and healers. You know, we got a lot of that in this church right here. I just named. We have educators. We have pastors. We have entrepreneurs. Look at this now. God has empowered us. We didn't get this overnight. They were trying to keep the books away from us. But God has empowered us. I don't know what the Dutch meant by having that scripture on the wall. The world may not remember that dungeon, but every time they look at me, I will never let them forget. God's words covered it all and lead us through the fire. Slavery, drugs, and the valley of death. In some ways, they was right. God did ordain it. I believe God puts us through some experience for a reason. I know I went through some valley of death several times. When I tell you, when I was in Vietnam, I didn't care. I was crazy. Well, I put it this way, I was cocky, right? To the point where I didn't care whether I lived or died. One way or the other. I was there. But God cared. God cared. I've been in many situations, some happy and some gloomy. God has pulled me out of it because he cares. What's Brother Mazeek's famous word? God told me because he had a work for me to do. Right? And that's what he did. He had a work for me to do. He got a work for you to do. He got a work for all of us to do. And we must always remember that God is always present, no matter what the situation is. Let's not give up that hope. Let's not falter. God acts when you act. Allow him to work in you, through you. Allow him. When you don't, you're failing. God did ordain it. It was not for their glory or profit, but to say to the world, I am in ultimate control. You know, I like history. And I especially like our history. Because I always say, if you don't know your own history, you don't know where you're going to go. If you don't know your own history, you're in. But I like our history. I like our history because I like to see how far we have come. Think about the situation we were in. We could not read. We could not speak the language. But look at us now. doctor over there, educator over here, musician right there. Hey, they weren't teaching us this, but we picked it up. God was teaching us. And through all that, God was also pulling us closer to him to let us know that he is in control. Don't worry about the things outside of you. Ultimately, he is in control. And I will not leave or abandon you. God said, I will not leave or abandon you. In closing, God does not operate on our time. God does not operate on our time. In our timetable, we see death. We see affliction and sickness. We see chaos and despair. But in God's timetable, justice is still on the move. Peace is still on the move. Hope is still abounding. Let us shout the shout of pain until we realize we can shout the shout of joy. Huh? Let's make up our minds to live through it and develop a ministry in the ministry. This is the reason to have greater compassion for others and appreciate the simplicity of life, the sunset and the rain. Let's work to make sure that no one else must go through what we have been through. Know God is with us and here and fear not. I am with you. Be not dismayed. For I am your God and will still give you aid. I'm strength. I'll strengthen and help you and cause you to stand and upheld by my righteous and omnipotent hands. God bless you. May God bless you. Thank you, Jesus.